Alright, boys. So, I got the entire MCU box set thing for Christmas. I finally finished it a couple of days ago. And I want to do a tier list. I've already put them in order in a Discord list, so it's a little bit structured, and I know where everything's going to go. But I'm just going to talk about the films a little bit and go through them, because I think it'll probably be a fun idea, essentially, is what I'm doing. The majority of these films I actually didn't see until the majority? No. I think about half of these films I didn't see until I went for the entire box set. And even the ones that I had watched, I rewatched those too. So yeah, we're just going to start, put them all in order here. I'm not sure how good the quality is going to be. It's probably going to be dog shit because it's my laptop, but whatever, who cares. Iron Man, B. It's decent. It's Iron Man. Everyone knows Robert Downey Jr. But after it's one of those films that like your teachers put on in school when you have a free lesson, and everyone's just seen it like a billion times. And I'm not sure if that played too much into it, but I mean, it's great, but it's a B. It's a high B. It's very good. I think it's probably the highest B. And then the Hulk, it's a C. It's okay. It's actually quite enjoyable. I like the actor. I saw him first in Fight Club, like a lot of people did. So he's pretty cool, and it's fairly enjoyable. But it doesn't feel like a Marvel film at all. I mean, it's still being C, even if it did feel like a Marvel film. But there's such a strong disconnect from the universe that it barely even deserves to be on the list, to be honest. But it's enjoyable in itself. Iron Man 2. I thought this was also a C. By the way, I'm going to be ranking them within the ranks as well, so it's going to be a full, like, comprehensive list. Iron Man 2, it was alright. It was okay. The villain, I don't know, it was very weird. It's very forgettable as well. I've forgotten so much because I watched it like a month ago. But I remember thinking, it was alright. And that was it. That was really it. It was very neutral. It was the most okay film that I had watched in a while. Though I was never bored. I was never like, what the fuck is this? I was just like, this is okay throughout the entire film. I don't even remember if there was a climax or not. It's just okay. And it does the job. It's a C. 4, yeah, 4's decent, but it's very weird. Firstly, it's again one of those films which I keep watching like 40-minute segments of because everyone just decides to chuck it on, but you never even finish the entire thing. And it feels like it's really low budget. Taking, Asgard and the cool graphics and stuff like that out of it, it's like most of it is just shot in this very small, like, desert town place that just seems out in the middle of nowhere. And it's very odd. It seems very, like, small scale for a Marvel film. But it's enjoyable, it's great. 4 is awesome. And it's a nice introduction to it all. And the bit where he can't pick up the hammer and shit, yeah. 4's fine. It wasn't bad enough to put it into a C. It was pretty good. I think it deserves a B. And Captain America, I can't remember much, actually, but I think it's a decent B. It's quite enjoyable. I remember being very pleased while watching the film. It was a lot better than I expected it was going to be. But yeah, all of it's great, really. It could have been a bit more funny. That's my one complaint. In these Marvel films, they do humor really well when they try. So when it's not very funny, when they only crack like one joke in the entire film, it's a bit disappointing. I would have liked more humor in it as well. I probably could have got it to an A, to be honest, because it's pretty borderline. Well, actually, no, it's not. I think it's middle of B. And then also the bit where it, his brother or his friend. I'm pretty sure it was his brother. I honestly can't remember at this point. Obviously he comes back as the Winter Soldier later, but there's one scene of Steve being sad where he says he can't get drunk, and then it's never mentioned again. Which I found very odd, and it's a pretty decent wait, 3 films until the Winter Soldier, so that doesn't get resolved for a while, basically, which I had a pretty big issue with. But overall, it's a very enjoyable film. Avengers is great. Avengers is an A. It's like, you can't go wrong with the Avengers cast all coming together. They work together perfectly. It's a great plot. Everything's awesome. It's a brilliant example of what an Avengers film should be, pretty much. I nearly put it in S, but then I realised that's dumb as fuck. It's not S tier, but I can see why you'd think it was, because it's the first time we all come together. Very, very good film, very entertaining. I can't really say much because, again, I've forgotten quite a lot, but I loved it. Everyone loves it. It's a good film. Iron Man 3. I think this might be my first slightly controversial opinion. Maybe, I'm not sure, because I'm pretty sure people don't like it, but I think it goes here. Nope, here. I liked Iron Man 3 quite a lot. Especially for a sequel, the third film of a series as well. It was very good. I found the humour really well done in this film as well. I can't remember many of the jokes myself, but I remember thinking it was very entertaining because of its humour. But it was I found it quite funny how they mentioned, terrorists, and I think there was mention of rape. I can't remember, but there was like, war crimes, and then that was juxtaposed with this really fucking funny scene straight afterwards, which I found hilarious personally, and I think it works quite well. And I really can't remember what exactly happens, but Iron Man being out in that one fucking country with the kid as well, it's just great. It works well. They did a good job on that film. I like it quite a lot. But it's a bit generic, I mean, that's pretty much. B is like, they're all decent. Anything below B is just generic. No, anything below A is generic. But then B is like, they have just an extra level above C. They have just an extra element where they're not purely generic, Like Hulk is just you know what I'm saying. Iron Man 3 is decent. For Dark World, the only reason it's better than Hulk is because it actually feels like a Marvel film. But what even happens? There's the ether. I think that's what it's called. But yeah. There's the bit where Loki pretends to stab Thor, and I can't remember anything else. I did not like this film much. It was just bad, really. Like it's serviceable. It's okay. The action is great, I guess, and then obviously Thor is always going to be cool. But I can't remember anything. It wasn't good. I don't think I'll ever watch it again, unless I for some reason decide to watch the entire MCU again, which I don't think I will. Yeah, not good, to be honest. But I think it fits in C. It's definitely passable. But very, very, very forgettable. Winter Soldier. Honestly, I love the Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier was awesome. I'm a big Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan, so seeing the fall of S.H.I.E.L.D. from a different perspective was so fucking cool, and seeing how Nick survived and stuff was so fucking awesome. This was great. I mean, obviously, aside from the S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff as well, it was awesome. I don't know what else to say because I can't remember much, but this was a great film. It's definitely borderline. It's borderline A to S. I think if you haven't watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it would be A. But because I had the extra element of watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. before this, easy S. I love this film. This film was great. I think it's the only... No, it's not the only thing. Never mind. I would love to watch this film again. I don't know what else to say. I'm really shit at this. But it's a brilliant film. The S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff is great. I think the twist at the end, or just all of the end, like the last half of the film especially, it was just fucking brilliant. At the start I was thinking, ooh, is this going to be a decent like B film? And then it picked up so fast. And yeah, just if you somehow haven't seen this film and you're an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan, then definitely watch this. You would love it. It's brilliant. Guardians of the Galaxy. This also is going to be a slightly controversial opinion, I expect, but I think it's an A. Obviously, it's great, which everyone would agree with. Maybe not putting it above Winter Soldier or putting it in S, people might disagree with. But I just didn't really get what made everyone fucking adore this film so much. It's obviously great. I loved it. But then everyone's like... When this came out, everyone was like, ooh, Guardians of the Galaxy, have you seen it? And I didn't see it until now. And I mean, it's just like... It's just great. I don't see what everyone's obsession with it was. And maybe I was reading into that too much, and maybe everyone thinks of this placement as perfect. I'm not exactly sure. But, I mean, I think this is the perfect placement for it. It's an A. Very clear A. The relationship between all the characters is excellent. The story, which I honestly can't remember much. I really don't remember the plot very well. Trying to think it through. Yeah, that was my main issue. It was a bit disjointed between all of the areas and all of the sections of the film. It didn't really feel like one universe. It felt like a bunch of different separate stories. But I liked it. I mean, fucking obvious I liked it. It's Guardians of the Galaxy. If you've seen it, you love it. It's brilliant. But I don't think it could go higher than that, personally. Age of Ultron. I have no idea what people think about this film. But I think it's about there. I think it's definitely better than 4. Maybe better than Iron Man 3. You know, yeah, I think it's better than Iron Man 3. Wait, it didn't fucking swap. There we go. I think that's a much better placement. The villain was very weird. There were some very odd choices. But at the same time, it was very badass. It was a very cool concept, creating this like super AI. And then the twins, I think they're called in the film, they came out of nowhere really. Which I mean, I guess, yeah, I think that's fine. But it was just a bit odd. It felt like I should have known where they came from with the way they were introduced. But again, I mean, it's an Avengers film. The whole cast is together. The bit with the floating fucking city, like that entire course of events was awesome. I'm just trying to remember it back properly because it's quite difficult. And then Vision as well. I think Vision was this film. Was it? Or was it one of the next films? No, yeah, Vision was this film, I'm pretty sure. Obviously, very cool. No, yeah, because Ultron was trying to make him, and then Iron Man was like, fuck you, I'm gonna turn him against you or something. Again, I can't really remember until it starts to get here. And these films onwards I can remember pretty well. Before that, not too well. But I remember enjoying it, but it was very odd. It had an odd feel to it. But it's another Avengers film. You're gonna love it. It's brilliant. Ant-Man. I thought Ant-Man was here. I think it was a B. It's pretty decent. The concept is very cool. The characters, I like the way they interact, and then the way they utilize the ants is a very, very cool concept. I like that a lot. Being able to control the ants and shit. And the ending when he went into the atomic size. That was a very cool sequence. It looked so cool. Like, if you've seen it, you know like exactly what I'm talking about. That was very awesome. Again, I'm trying to. It was quite funny as well. It was very funny. The main actor, I can't remember his name. He does comedy pretty well, in my opinion. So overall, it was a very decently entertaining film. I enjoyed it quite a lot. So I don't have much to say. I can't remember anything. Let me see what I wrote down about it. Oh yeah, the one like gripe as well is it also didn't feel like it was in the MCU. If you took any, if you completely separated it from Marvel, it would still be the exact same film, which I think, you know, isn't a good quality. But I mean, it's not necessarily a negative. But when it's part of this huge 23 film story, like, it feels like it should be a little bit more connected, you know? Which a decent amount of these films do have. Like, I don't think Fury was in it or anything. I don't believe, anyway. And some people may see that as a positive, to be honest. Some people might not want it all to be connected, because there's more on Earth than just the Avengers story, clearly. But I don't know. I personally would have liked it to be a little bit more connected. But overall, it's still a great film. Civil War. I enjoyed this above Guardians of the Galaxy. I nearly put this in S, but it was another one of those films which was very weird. It was amazing throughout. I think this had the most Marvel characters in one film. I think this was the record at the time. And obviously that's amazing, and putting Iron Man against Captain America is obviously a great idea, because they're meant to be teammates. They're meant to be the two teammates of the fucking Marvel franchise, and putting them against each other and then having to make the other characters pick sides. Very, very cool concept, and they did it quite well. But as it got towards the end, it felt like it was very rushed at the end. It felt like they ran out of time, and they couldn't explore the ending in the way they wanted to. That's what it felt like to me. I didn't even... It just sort of ended. Like, Captain beat Iron Man in that fight, and I was like, ooh, what's going to happen now? Are they going to, like, make up or something? And they just didn't, and the film just ended. Pretty much. That's pretty much what happened. And then the villain, I don't even understand what was going on with that. There were meant to be these other Winter Soldier characters, and he killed them or something before we even got there. And it just seemed like a bad explanation. It seemed like the setup, the obvious ending from the setup, I think would have been a lot better, personally. Yeah, it just felt really rushed. It felt like we don't have enough time to do what we wanted here. We'll just make them beat each other up. Although, learning about Iron Man's parents' death and knowing how Captain America tied into that slightly, that was pretty cool. Oh shit, I had something to say. Oh, and also the ending. Captain was just like, I'm gonna rescue the people from prison. And then not only do you not see him do that at any point, but it's never even said in any of the films, like, oh, by the way, he did it. They're just sort of out the next time they're seen in a film, which I think is Black Panther, I believe. Because I'm pretty sure like Hulk and all is in there, but I can't remember what side he was on. But yeah, the next time they were in a film, They were just like, yeah, we're out. And they didn't even say it. They didn't acknowledge it. They never acknowledged how Captain got him out of the place. Sorry, I'm rambling. But I had a bit of an issue with this film. But overall, very enjoyable, very cool, and yeah. Oh no, Hulk's scene in Ragnarok. There was some fucking thing. Something happened here, which I would have liked. Okay, I have a better wording. There was a gap between Civil War and I think Infinity War, and I would have liked to have had a bit more context of what happened within that. That's what I want. Doctor Strange, I fucking love Doctor Strange. This film just does so much right for me. It's an S. I don't care. I think most people would say it's an A, but I think this is one of my favourite films. Not just in the MCU, but just ever. I really, really like Doctor Strange. I'm a fan of House, so the hospital sequences, they're a small part of the film, but I loved those, and Benedict Cumberbatch just does such a good job. And then, like the fractal like structures of the buildings like turning in on themselves, the mirror dimension basically is just so cool. Everything about this film was incredible. The way they explained, well, they didn't explain magic, but the way they portrayed it works very well. This just sits perfectly with me. This is a near perfect film. I love it. I don't even care that it's not very connected to the MCU. It just does so much right for me. Like, this is what I want out of a film, pretty much. It's funny. There's a twist. The action is awesome. The visuals are just brilliant in the mirror dimension, and the way they can manipulate that. It's very, very cool. I think the pacing is perfect. Everything's perfect. That's one of my favourite films. Yeah, I love it. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I think this probably will be a controversial one. I think it's better than Volume 1, actually. I really, really liked... I forgot what the blue guy's name is. The guy who raised... Quinn? I can't even... God, I can't remember anyone's names. But I loved his character arc and his redemption arc. And when he was with Rocket... I really hope I'm getting these names right. When they were together and the way he turned around, and it was actually he was a good guy the entire time because he was trying to keep Quinn away from his dad, and the twist with his dad as well. And like I thought this was so cool. The blue guy, which is what I'm just going to call him, his character is pretty much like he's SS character for me. I just loved that so much. The way they handled his turnaround was brilliant. That was perfect in my opinion. That really carries it for me, just because of how much I loved that. Oh, and there's also Mantis as well. Mantis gets introduced. That's pretty cool. And Gamora, I think, fixes the relationship between Nebula. Although, to be honest, I really fucking hate Nebula. Not just because she's a bitch, but it just doesn't sit right with me. Like, nothing about that character sits right at all. So I don't really give a shit about Nebula. I think they could have handled her a lot better. This is throughout the MCU, not just about this film. Yeah, I just really don't like her. But back to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, I think this was brilliant. I would much rather watch this than Volume 1, personally. The bit at the start. Oh, the bit at the start was so cool. When they're fighting the big fucking thing, and they focus on Baby Groot. Is it Baby Groot, or is it just Groot? I don't know. But that was awesome. Very funny. Yet, again, very funny film. I only have praise for this film. Why isn't it an S? I don't fucking know. I don't know, it just feels more like an A to me. That's the reason. Spider-Man: Homecoming. I think this is an A. I think many people would agree with that placement. This film was awesome. The relationship between Peter and Iron Man, Spider-Man and Iron Man, is obviously just cool. Wait, oh, that's a complaint. Sorry, I'm gonna backtrack to Civil War. It was very weird how they just introduced Spider-Man as if you had already seen Homecoming. Obviously, Homecoming chronologically happens afterwards, I believe, because he already has the suit that Spider-Man gives him, yeah. But then they were just like, hello, Spider-Man. And then there was no introduction. We weren't... They were... Spider-Man was trying to hide the fact that he's Spider-Man. And there was no, like, tension or anything. We were no, like, oh, is he gonna get found out? Because if you hadn't seen it before, you wouldn't even have known he was Spider-Man. If you hadn't, like, because I saw Civil War, this was the first time I'd seen it, and obviously I know who the fuck Spider-Man from Homecoming is, because he's just seen everywhere, and all of the clips of the actor leaking the spoilers for the films. I just thought that was really weird. It felt like the relationship was already there with the audience and Spider-Man, even though it clearly wasn't. But anyway, back to the actual film. It's awesome. The relationship between Spider-Man and Iron Man is brilliant. They just handle the film very well. The villain is very forgettable. I've forgotten what he was all about. I think he was just a dick. I think it was one of those generic, just I'm an arsehole villains who wants to kill people and get money. But apart from that, it's very well done. Very, very good film. Ragnarok. Everyone loves Ragnarok. It's an S. Whoops. Easy S. I'd personally rather watch Doctor Strange over Ragnarok, but I can clearly see that Ragnarok is better. It's like, if you've seen it, you know exactly what the fuck it's all about. I would like to say they spent a bit too long on that one planet, the trash planet, whatever the fuck it is. I would have liked if they had sped that bit up just a little bit, because it felt like the main focus of the film was getting off that planet, not stopping his sister. Like, it should have been, we need to get off this planet to stop my sister, not, we need to get off this planet because we're stuck, you know? That's what it should have been. And it didn't feel like that. Like, they got off the planet and it's like, holy shit, there's still the rest of the plot to finish, which is, you know, like 70%. But apart from that, it's very good. Everyone loves it. Anyone who's seen Ragnarok will tell you how good it is. And then Ragnarok leading into Infinity War is very, very cool. If you manage to remember the ending of that film and then the beginning of Infinity War, it's very good. It's very good. I don't know what else to say about the film. The bit with Hulk was obviously very cool. I really wish they wouldn't have spoiled it in the trailer. I even saw like the previous film on here, because there's a trailer for the next film on the DVDs. They literally showed that Hulk was there, and it was like, okay. I knew already because I had seen a review on the film, but I feel like the twist being revealed as you watch it would have been so much better. You know, like, oh, now I know where Bruce has been the entire time. Although, how the fuck did he even end up on the planet? He was in a plane, and he apparently crashed. So how did he leave the atmosphere and then somehow crash into a portal that just happened to lead him to that planet? Surely he would have just crashed in the ocean, or on land, I guess. I don't know. I thought that was very strange. But yeah, obviously it's great, good film. Everyone loves it. It's Ragnarok is fucking S, easy S. Everyone would agree. Black Panther. I loved Black Panther so much. Every bit about this was amazing. The tribal aspect of it, just like the characters, the music. Although it was a bit on the nose that they gave the villain, like very rap-esque, a very rap-esque soundtrack, where it just felt so completely off from the rest of the soundtrack. It's very jarring. I wish they would have. I don't know. It was very cool, but I wish they would have made it more of a mix of like the tribal music with that music than just purely taken from like a rap song was basically the background music. But you know, Chadwick Boseman does an excellent job, and it's just got this very, very cool feel to it. This very badass feel of like the tribes coming together, and the Pink Panther, the Black Panther suit is obviously awesome. And I mean, yeah, it's just one of those. I can't say much specifically about it. It was just really, really cool. Although two things I noticed: the suits, the Chadwick suit and the villain suit. I can't remember any of the fucking names. They were opposite colours, which is it's a bit on the nose, but I just thought that was quite cool when I picked that up. And also the ending, the very, very end was so shit. They took the cliche and just made it so on the nose and awful. when what's his fucking name? I don't know. When he was in the basketball court at the end, a fucking kid goes up to him and goes, "Who are you?" It's just it's so stupid. It's the classic, like, "Who are you?" "I'm Iron Man." But he didn't even say anything as well. It was just, "Who are you?" Why? Like, this is so late into the MCU. Why are you still doing this? I thought that was really funny. I burst out laughing, and it ruined. Well, it didn't ruin. It ruined the immersion. It didn't ruin the film or the ending. I just thought that bit was hilariously stupid, and I can't believe no one stopped it from happening. It's just, not only is it a forced concept for an ending, but they forced a garbage concept for the ending, which is so much worse. Why couldn't they have forced, like, a good one, you know? Well, yeah, obviously. But yeah, apart from that, the entire film was great. I want to rewatch that now, actually. Infinity War. I mean, it's so good. There's nothing I can say about it, because you've seen it. Everyone has seen Infinity War. I'm going to read my notes. Oh yeah, I found, I'm not even going to talk about what was good. I'm just going to talk about some stuff that I picked up. I found the children of Thanos very funny. There's Ebony Maw, one of the strongest beings in the universe, who can bend matter with his mind in any way he wants. And he's even powerful enough to make the things he bends look cool. Like, he made a rock that he can float on, and he made the bottom of it look like a fucking tornado out of rocks, because he's just so badass and powerful. And then there's another one, who was never named, I don't believe, who is this, you know, incredibly powerful Hulk-like creature. But there's nothing really special about him. He's just very strong and big and powerful, but he's pretty cool. He holds his own against the Hulk. The Hulkbuster suit. So he's pretty damn cool, but he's never named as well. He's just a bit in the back. And then there's this guy with a spear. It's just Spearman. I guess the spear stopped Vision from doing his phasing thing, but that was never even explained. So, and then there's a girl who can fight a bit. Just, that's all it is. There's incredibly strong being, like most powerful being in the universe nearly. Then there's strong man, a man with a spear, which has a slightly special ability, and then there's just woman. Woman can fight. It's such a huge contrast between all of the characters. It's like an S, A, B, and D tier fighter. Oh yeah, I saw the ending from Civil War was never explained. There was a big just fucking jump, as I said, which isn't a fault of Infinity War. I think it's a fault of Civil War, because I think they ran out of time. But it's still a fault nonetheless, which I really would have liked to have seen explained. There's so much. I think continuity is the word. There's so much continuity which we just don't see, or we don't get told. And you know, show not tell is what Miss Reese always told me. But at the same time, I would like I especially in this type of film, I don't want to be like, I mean, I'm pretty sure this happened. I want to know something happened, you know? I want to see it on the screen. Like, you know, Hulk gets out of prison. It's like, oh, he's out of prison. But I want to know how the fuck that happened, because they could have made something cool out of it. No, not Hulk. But bad example, obviously, but man's out of prison. It's like, oh, he's just there now. Like, okay, how did he get out? Is that you never told? You just told he's out of prison by seeing him, which I think is bullshit personally. But I don't know. Maybe you like that. I think it's an opinion thing. I think they probably purposefully chose to do that, thinking it was a good choice, and probably some people agree, but I personally don't. Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's okay. It's a C. It was entertaining enough. Maybe it's a... No, it's not a B. It's not a B. The humour was done good. Again, I found it actually quite funny. But that's just it. Nothing was ever even attempted to be explained. The girl who can phase or something. What? And then... and then they also completely ignore the fact that in the first film they were like, remember, Scotty, you're going to be the exact same weight, because it's just the distance between the molecules that are changing. So, you know, be fucking careful. You're still the size of a human, but you're just small. And then they ignore that throughout the entire film and make Hank carry a fucking building in his hands as a suitcase, and he also has a box full of like 20 cars. Maybe he figured out a way to make the weight smaller. They didn't fucking explain that though, so I'm just gonna assume that Hank has super strength, because that's the only explanation. Or I can assume that Marvel was just really lazy and like building suitcase pog. That's probably what happened. They were like, we want to let the audience know we've done our research by mentioning it once in the film, but then we're just going to ignore it for the sake of the film being cool. Which, I mean, I sort of respect. At the same time, it would have been nice if they were just like, I found a workaround. Because, you know, even if that's impossible, all of this shit is impossible. So we don't care. If Hank could find a workaround, that'd be cool. We want to see building suitcase, but we want an explanation. Captain Marvel, D. The only D. This film sucks. Well, it's so forgettable. I nearly didn't rewatch this film, because I watched this film in cinemas, and I really didn't want to watch this again, because I knew I'd be bored, and I was. The first half of this film drags. The rest of it is saved by Nick Fury. He's the only saving grace of this film. If he wasn't in this film, it'd be an easy F or E, depending on what you'd want to use. She's just shoehorned in, just so like she can just so at the end of Endgame they can have this massive army, but then there's a possible explanation of how they can stop the army. I'm just gonna read through my notes. It's very dull, forgettable, and completely BS. The only reason I actually watched this film again was because I wanted to watch every single film in a row, because I feel like that's pretty cool. But we could have done without this film. The MCU could have deleted this film and her character, and it would have been better, which is a clear sign of a bad film. The film is so boring. This was this was one out of only 2 DVDs to not have bonus features. Like, come on. That's a clear sign of how fucking bad it is. And then at the end, she's just retardedly overpowered. She could have solved every issue in the MCU in a matter of seconds. But instead of doing that, because obviously that'd be stupid, they now make Nick out to be an idiot for not contacting her. Maybe there's an explanation, but it's never explicitly told to us, and it's never even hinted at, apart from one time Nick said not to mention her name in one of the films somewhere for some reason. I think Endgame, or no, in Spider-Man Homecoming. No, in Spider-Man Far From Home. And we never know why. Did they ever falling out? I don't think so. It's just really stupid. She also said she was going to stop the Kree. I'm pretty sure. She was like, I'm coming for you and the mastermind, whoever the fuck. And yet, she's the most... I'd argue she's the most powerful being in the universe. Minus having Infinity Stones, of course. And yet she can't take out the Kree. Like, okay. What? The Kree is still throughout the entire MCU. Obviously, this is the first instance of any of this. This is basically, in chronological order, this is the first film. And yet, throughout all of the MCU, the Kree are still very prevalent. Which maybe you could say, oh, she didn't want to wipe out the entire race, only the people that oppressed her specifically. Then why are there these incredibly evil, well-known evil Kree still alive? It doesn't make sense. They made this stupidly overpowered character and then didn't think what the fuck that meant for the rest of it, because she's there now at the start of all these films. And that they tried to explain it by saying that there's a lot of issues on, like, all the issues that these people had were happening on every planet, and the universe is pretty damn big. But she made it to Earth in, like, how long? A couple days, a day, less than a day, a couple hours. And then also, she said her first goal after this film was to kill the Kree, and yet they're massively prevalent throughout the MCU. Which just doesn't make sense to me. At all. Like, you'd think she would have stopped the Kree human farm thing in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But nope. She's just dull as fuck. I'm going to read my final paragraph here. She's such a dumbass that even while being one of the most powerful beings in the universe, she can't stop the Kree. Yep. This film really pisses me off. Not only does it drag to watch the first half after the first viewing, and even during the first viewing, to be honest, but it creates issues throughout the MCU too. Yeah, well, I basically just said that. But yeah, I'm probably never going to watch this film again. Nick Fury is the only reason I would rewatch this film, just to see his moments again, because he does great. He is very, very cool, and his jokes and his charisma, everything was perfect. But then this bitch came along. God, it's very annoying. Endgame. Everyone loves Endgame. Everyone's seen Endgame. I feel like the smart people will agree with me on this. I feel like the people who know what's up agree with me, because I've had people agree already. And I feel like the Marvel stans are gonna be pissed. But it's Infinity War is better. Obviously, Endgame's S tier, top like 3, you know, fucking obviously. But Infinity War is so much better. Well, not so much. I could see why you would prefer Endgame, but I think Infinity War is definitely better. The main reason is Infinity War, instant action. There's no longer than like 15-minute periods where there's no action in this film. It's constant, and if there's no action, it's like building very well. it like throughout the entire film, it's just they do it so well. They hold your attention throughout. There's no boring moment. Every moment is very, very exciting. But Endgame, the first like hour, is not exciting. But I do like the first hour because it provides a lot of context after Infinity War, which is very needed. And obviously, as you know from what I've said before in this video, I like that. That's cool. But upon rewatching, would I rather watch 2 hours of solid action from start to finish, or would I rather watch 1 hour of non-action, and then I think it's just like an hour and a half, maybe another 2 hours of really good action as well. And I just think no, I mean not really. It's more like half an hour or an hour of the actual climax at the end. Maybe not even that. But the end is awesome. The final battle is obviously great. If you've seen it, you fucking know. It's so cool. The way they all work together, and the way... Dude, like, imagine having to create that one scene where they start running at each other, where, like, every fucking character is in that one camera shot, and, like, the camera doesn't cut for, like, 5 minutes, because they introduce every single character doing their own part. It's so cool. But, I'd rather watch Infinity War. That's what it is. That's what it comes down to. I'd rather watch this film. Because Infinity War does the same, but it's more condensed. I love the non-action bits, like where I don't know any of their real names. I sound like an idiot by calling them. Where Hawkeye was trying to sacrifice himself, and then fucking. Oh, I'm trying to think of their real name, but I can't. I'm just gonna call it girl, and then the girl was trying to sacrifice herself as well. Like, that was a brilliant scene. If I didn't know that happened, I would have been so sad. But I unfortunately saw Endgame before a decent amount of these films. Most of the films where their relationship is built, especially, so I knew exactly what happened, and every time they were together in a scene, I was like, damn, she dies. So I was very prepared for it. But back to the point, basically, the bits that aren't the end with Thanos, the bits that don't include Thanos, are still very cool. I think this film does time travel the best out of any film. I think the way they show time travel was such a bold move, and they pulled it the fuck off. They showed time travel in the most convincing way possible. Like, they obviously didn't try to explain it. He was like, show me what would work if I do a Mobius strip, which I highly doubt would actually be the shape you would need to produce to make time travel. But because obviously they're not going to be able to explain fucking the way to create time travel, but when they explained how it works, like if you time travel, that becomes your present, and your future is now your past, and shit like that. I think they explained it well. I think I understand time travel now, and be able to take the stones and put it back in the same spot. Yeah, that makes sense. Like, oh god, it's cool. They do all the continuity and context and explanations so well, but Infinity War doesn't have that. It cuts all the fat. It just leaves you with all of this incredible scenes of action and Thanos, essentially, which I love. And for the majority of this film, the whole cast isn't in it because a lot of them are dead. Obviously, so that's not really an issue because it had to happen. But you know, if you're cutting down to its basics, a film with the entire MCU cast or half the MCU cast, the entire MCU cast the entire time is going to be better. So yeah, that's why I think I had to explain why I put Endgame as lower than Infinity War. Maybe I didn't. Maybe everyone thought that already. I don't fucking know. And also, it's very disappointing that Doctor Strange wasn't really in the fight at the end, because his fight with Thanos in Infinity War is one of my favourite scenes from the entire fucking MCU. That was so cool. Like, they utilised his like, just the idea of his powers so well, and it showed how awesome they could make him. And then in here, they just make him hold water for the entire fight. Like, oh, okay. It doesn't even create tension. You're never like, ooh, if they get to Doctor Strange, everyone's gonna fucking drown. Nah, they just make him hold the water and they forget about him. Which sucks. They could have done so well. They could have made another badass Doctor Strange scene. But they just didn't. And I think some people were saying after the film it's because he's too powerful. He could have just fucked up the entire army straight away. Which I don't necessarily believe in. Agree with, I mean. I think they could have done something very, very cool there. I think it's a missed opportunity, essentially. But there's a lot of negatives. I'm not gonna let positives, because you've fucking seen Endgame. Everyone loves Endgame. It's brilliant. And now the final film. This may be a controversial opinion. I'm not very sure. I think it will be. I don't think many people will agree exactly on this with me, but I think Spider-Man is better than Endgame. I think Spider-Man Far From Home is better than Endgame. I think Infinity War is the best film. I think Infinity War is the best MCU film. But Far From Home is my favourite film. If you'll explain, right. This tier list is a list of MCU films, obviously, best to worst. But I think this is the best film. This is the best MCU film. If you get what I'm saying? It's... Bro, you know what? I don't fucking know. I can't put Far From Home above Infinity War in like, without a guilty conscience. Because that would just be retarded. But I think it's a lot better than Endgame. This film was perfect to me. This is one of my new favourite films, just in general. Let me get my notes. I don't even have any notes. Yeah. Every single bit of this film is so cool. Like, bro, I don't even know what to say. It's just so good. They handle like the relationships perfectly. I'm just repeating myself about all these fucking films because all these films are so good. But every positive that I've said about any of these films, chuck that into Spider-Man, and then it's perfect. It would be better than Infinity War if it had more MCU cast in it, but I would never expect that to happen, and that would take away from it being a Spider-Man film. So I'm not saying they should have put more in, but it is technically a negative, and it probably would be better than Infinity War if there was, like, 4 in it or something, because fucking obviously everyone loves 4. But Nick is great. The bit where the projections are shown to Peter and he thinks he's talking to Nick, and you don't realise it's not Nick even at the end. Like, you think Nick got shot, and then it's like, oh, Nick's back. Oh no, it wasn't Nick, it was the guy. And then you're like, what the fuck? And then it ends, and then you're like, oh shit, it was just the guy. The guy shot Nick. And then you realise it was never fucking Nick to begin with. Nick didn't even get shot. He wasn't even there. He just told all of it to the guy. Again, I can't remember any of the names, but oh god, it was just so cool. This is a perfect film, nearly. There's no negative. There's nothing negative I can say about this film, and everything positive about it is like 95% positive plus. Brilliant. This was amazing. If they can keep this up for, well, I guess they've made it already. If they have kept this up for like Black Widow and stuff, and apparently they're making Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and apparently another 4 film, or something like they're going to be tied together because Thor is with the Guardians, some shit like that. If they can keep up the quality of the past, like, you know, because these are all the past couple of films, if they can keep that up, holy shit, people will have so much more respect for Marvel than they already have. I just can't say enough about this film. It's funny. There's just constant, like, twists, and it's like a fucking Mission Impossible film. It's brilliant. I mean, bruh. That's all I can say, really. I don't want to just keep rambling on about how much I love this film if I don't have any actual opinions apart from that to give about it. But yeah, Infinity War is the best MCU film, but this is the best film in the... But Far From Home is the best film in the MCU, if you sort of see where I'm going with that. And then Captain Marvel's dog shit. And apart from that, everything above Iron Man 3, I'd recommend people to even just watch on their own. Yeah. Like, I'd never be like, bro, if someone's asking for a film, I'd never say, go watch 4. But I might believe they'd be interested in watching anything above this. Anything above Iron Man 3. Yeah. Cool. That's pretty much the entire list. I think it's pretty cool. I shared it to my Discord, and you know, I'm going to screenshot it actually. And this is, as I said, in order within the ranks as well. So this is borderline S and A. Same with this. This is very nearly S, because I love Black Panther. This is another one like Doctor Strange, where I think I like it a lot more than other people do. So this was nearly S tier. Very, very nearly S tier. I nearly put it above Doctor Strange, actually. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I doubt even anyone is hearing this, to be honest, because I mean, why would you have sat through that? But maybe someone has. Maybe someone's enjoyed it. And if you disagree, tell me, because I would love to see other people's opinions on this. Because, you know, as I said, I haven't watched a good chunk of these films before watching all of them now. I think it was the majority of these films I hadn't watched, or at least hadn't watched with proper context. Like, I watched Infinity War game before watching so many of... Like, I had no idea who the Black Panther was. I was like, he's just there. I didn't know what happened to Thor. I didn't know who the Guardians of the Galaxy were at all. I didn't know who Hawkeye really was, Black Widow. Didn't really know any of them. I knew about Hulk, Iron Man. I knew Thor a little bit, actually, but I didn't know what happened in Ragnarok. I knew Ant-Man as well. But I knew so little about these films going into them. But then going into them knowing everything that comes before, it changes it a lot. I forgot what my point was. Apart from Doctor Strange is goated, and so is Far From Home, and if you disagree, you're fucking wrong. By the way, these are all facts. None of these are opinionated. If you disagree, you are wrong.